Hi. So yeah, I'm also have never done an Ignite before, so it's like this weird timing thing, too fast, too slow. So what I'm talking about is what happens when the assumptions you make about DevOps turn out not to be true. This happens to us quite a bit. And so some of the assumptions I think we all make are things like all our systems are going to be pretty homogeneous. We're going to be using the same tools on all of our systems. They're ephemeral, like we can create and destroy VMs at will, and that they evolve gradually. Like we have a nice control process, we can select our tools in advance, all that kind of thing. So as somebody who runs a hosting platform for healthcare apps, what we found is healthcare IT sometimes isn't quite up with the times. They like to challenge our assumptions. And so some of those challenges that they make are things like, for example, they could be using any tools or any weird combination of tools that you can imagine. They could have systems that they basically say, you know what, I want this VM to be running forever, period. And in fact, a lot of our customers, a good 50% at least, have that. And then also, because we have so many customers, people are constantly coming to us with new requirements. So heterogeneous, we have customers who are running basically any, like Perl, even Ruby, Node.js, whatever they're, and so how do we deal with that? First of all, so we modularize, right? It's pretty simple, right? Like you could use Docker, but since Docker isn't necessarily an option, they've never used it, we use things like, deployment accounts that are limited resource. We could use also to root jails and things like that. Next, we transfer responsibility. So we say, all right, you know what? We're only going to install official versions, for example, and let's say with Node.js, we're only going to install long-term support versions. And we basically say, you go and look at what the official source is providing, and that's what we're going to do, because we're going to use their system. And then computer science theory, just kind of generally categorizing things to say, okay, we're going to divide the world into databases and cache servers and separate them. So like we're going to say Redis is a cache server, MongoDB is a database. Again, we're trying to just divide the world up into easy to understand chunks. All right, so what do you do? This is way against most DevOps practices. What do you do when you have a system that's supposed to be up for years? You literally can't recreate it because your customer's got some stuff installed on there and they need it to stay there. So you can go back to old school operations principles, right? So you can do maintenance windows. You can still script them, you can still automate them. You can still use Ansible and Terraform like we do in the maintenance window, but you still say, your customer, you know what, it's going to be down for an hour because we need to do some maintenance on this old system that's been running for 2 years. Or longer, right? Package managers, they can be a huge pain in the ass, like dpackage, and RPM can also be amazing, right? They can handle upgrading systems really effectively. They've been doing that for 20 years. They're really good at it. So learn how they work. There's a lot of complexities and depth. And finally, do try to give the customer some kind of box. And I'm being a little repetitive here on purpose. So like I said, deployment accounts, even if you can't use Docker containers, give them one account with no root access, and try to find ways to allow them to do what they need to do without root, for example. Finally, what do you do when people keep coming to you with new requirements? So first of all, I would say you need to wait until your slide comes up because I don't know what the next one is. All right, I tried to stall there, but it didn't work. Oh yeah, this is good. So we're back to boundaries and having modularization, but this time it's about explaining it. So you need to really communicate clearly to your customers, like, here's a diagram, here are the boxes you're in, here's what we'll do, here's what you do, here's what Azure or AWS does. Avoid the bandwagon jumping. Just because everybody's writing about the latest cool new tool doesn't mean it's actually any good. Happens all the time. So test things yourself. Establish your own rules of engagement with every new technology before you say yes to your customer. And then automate incrementally. This is one of the tricks that we use at NetStack is the first time we do something, we'll just do it by hand. That's fine, right? We don't want to prematurely optimize. Second time, then we'll script it or we'll put it into Ansible and make it into code, and then the third time we optimize it, make a module, and so on. It's still DevOps, right? So even though your systems may be breaking all the rules, or your customers may want things that don't sound sort of DevOps-y, you can still use DevOps tools for all these things, like I've just discussed. So that's good, and that's what saves us, really, at MedStack. And one of the things is, I'm talking about external customers. These are all companies that come from the outside, but mean, how many people have internal customers that are coming to you and saying, hey, I need my system to run for 5 years, or hey, you know what, I got to use this tool that can't use containers, right? So these strategies hopefully can help you guys, even if you're servicing only internal customers, when these assumptions aren't too. So thank you very much. My name is Simon Woodside, and I'll be hanging around, so come and talk to me afterwards, and you can tweet me at Simon_Woodside. Take care.